Afrei lichin gut chodesh Rabbi Sai. Says Gemara holding by Arba Tzitzios Ma'akvei Zuzu Daf Lamed Zayin Omud Beis. Like 15 lines from the bottom, 12, 15 lines. New Sugya. It says in the Mishnah that the 4 tzitzis, if you don't have all 4, then you can't wear tzitzis. Arba Tzitzios Ma'akvei Zuzu Sharbartam Mitzvah Achas. It's one mitzvah. Comes Rabbi Yishmael says all 4 are 4 mitzvahs. As the Gemara might be now, at the end of the day, you have to wear a beged that has 4 corners with 4 tzitzis. So where's the nafkamina, whether it's 1 mitzvah or 4 different mitzvahs? Says the Gemara, a number of differences. On Rabbi Yosef, Sadim b'tzitzis benayu, if a person has only 3 tzitzis. Now we know, we're going to be talking, we're starting Perek Tcheles today, so I might as well show you. The blue string in the tzitzis is made out of wool. Has to be made out of wool. The beged, the sadin, is made out of pishtan. So what we have here is a problem of tzemur pishtan of shatnez. So if it's the mitzvah of tzitzis, great. But what happened was, you don't have all 4. You only have 3 out of the 4. So we have a problem of shatnez. According to Chacham, you need 4, and you only have 3. So you're walking around with shatnez. You're going to have to take the beged off. According to Rabbi Yishmael, that each one of the tzitzis is a mitzvah f'nei atzma. It's its own mitzvah. So if you're wearing 3, you're also carrying the mitzvah. It's not shatnez. The tzemer, the wool that you have on your 3 tzitzis, is part of the mitzvah. You're carrying a mitzvah. That's nafkamina number 1. If a person has something like this, 5 corners, so according to Tanakama, you put on 4 tzitzis. According to Rabbi Yishmael, each one is a mitzvah f'nei atzma, so you would have to put on 5. Ravina Omar de Rav Huna Kibenayu, there's a nafkamina in Rav Huna. The Omar Rav Huna Yedz V'tal Sheinu Mitzuyetz Kilchasa. If a person walks out in the Rosh Hashanah, let's say with 3 tzitzis, so now the tzitzis become a masa, they become a burden. He's carrying tzitzis. B'Shabbos chayiv chatas. According to Rabbi Yishmael, you'd be patur. Why? Because 3 is also good, so you're not chayiv anything. According to Tanakama, 3 is nothing, so you're carrying 3. It's like carrying a bag of tzitzis around. Nothing to do with your tzitzis, and that's also that's a chayiv chatas. If a person thinks that to himself that he's going to get away with getting rid of the 4th corner, and he won't be chayiv b'tzitzis, he didn't do anything. He cut off the corner. He did something like this, I guess. Shavital is Baal Chamish. So by cutting the corner, all you did is you added another corner. Omer Misharsha, you ever see these guys walking around with fracks? The frack is really 4 corners. So what do? If you take a notice, you'll see one of the back corners, they round it out. So is that okay? That's what the Gemara is discussing here. This guy, he made a mistake. He didn't round it out. He cut it on a straight angle. Oh, so now he created 5 corners. With Nanami, no. What if he ties it up? He ties up the corner in a circle, something like this. He circles it out a little bit. This is not so much circle, but it was in a circle. Because you tied it, the knot is nothing. My time, the command is shari dummy. We just view it as if it's completely untied, and it's got a regular garment of 4 corners. With nanami, if you have a jug, something like this, you try to make a jug out of a piece of leather by tying it, that's nothing. It's not a jug. It's not a kli. Kli is makabel tuma, but a piece of leather is not makabel tuma. The way you try to create a jug was by tying it. That knot is not enough. You need to sew it. You need to do something serious. Chutz mishel arvim, if they're Arabs, that's the derech to use it like that. So that's the way it's a kli. But you're not an Arab. You don't tie up a piece of hide and make it into a jug. Therefore, it's not makabel tuma. In other words, what we see from here is that by tying something, that's not enough. That doesn't change the tzura of the beged or the kli. If a person actually sews the corner of his garment, and he makes it in a circle like they do on the frak. If he really didn't want that corner, he should have cut it out. Why did he sew it up? So the sewing doesn't do any much. So Rabbi Shmuel holds, just going back to that Mishnah, Rabbi Shmuel holds that each tzitzis is a mitzvah b'fnei atzmo. Rav Yudah or Shmuel, halachik Rabbi Shmuel. He starts off saying that when we're talking about shatnez, when we're talking about Shabbos, five corners, whatever the nafkaminas are, the halachah is like Rabbi Shmuel. You put on tzitzis on all 5 corners. You're not over on Shabbos. You're not over on shatnez. But the Gemara says, but we don't paskin like Shmuel. Ememela, the halachah is not like Rabbi Shmuel, and you would need all 4 tzitzis, and you would be over in shatnez, you would be over in Shabbos. Rabbi Navakah Azal Basrei, story. Rabbi Navakah Azal Basrei the Marbar Ravashi b'Shabsa the Rigla. It was on Shabbos, right before Yontif, where there's a drasha, and he was walking behind Marbar Ravashi. Ifsak kind of the chute, he noticed that one of the tzitzis popped out. Where's my tzitzis here? I don't know if we have one. Oh, no? Oh, here we go. This corner is missing completely. He noticed it popped out. Ifsik, he didn't mention a word to him. In other words, he was worried that he's going to have to take off his shirt in public. And this is Marbar Ravashi, Goladar. You don't do that to him. When he got home, he said, Ravina tells him, I noticed 3 blocks earlier, that's when your tzitzis became puzzle. If you would have told me over there, I would have removed my garment. Now let's ask the question, why would he remove the garment? He has 3 tzitzis. What's wrong with 3 tzitzis? According to Rabbi Shmuel, if you have a garment with 4 corners and you have 3 tzitzis, you keep on wearing it. Each one is a mitzvah. Obviously, we don't pass like Rabbi Shmuel. We pass like Chachamim. That you don't. You have to wear, you have to have 4. As the Gemara of Omar, God will cover that brios, Shadoiches, Leisas Shabbat Torah. This is a concept of human dignity, that if a person could be embarrassed or push off even a Leisas in the Torah. We have to see what that means. The Gemara right away says it's not true. Tirguma Rav Bar Shvak Hamed Rav Kahana. Not true, not true. There's only one time that you're allowed to break a da'iraisa when you're embarrassed. So don't get confused, the Gemara says. We're talking about an issa da'iraisa, this if you can't wear tzitzis and Rosh Hashanah, you're carrying Rosh Hashanah, you can't use all human dignity to cover that brias. That only applies by Chachamim, by issa da'rabbana. And some people say the story was the opposite. Mahasam Amarlei. When his tzitzis ripped in the middle of the street, Ravina made a comment and said, "Hey, Marbar Ravashi, your tzitzis ripped." Why are you telling me this? You want me to remove my shirt? I don't have to remove my shirt. But wait a minute. And this is just going back, Chazarah, we have a little Chazarah today, Baruch Hashem, and Beis also. We're just doing over the sugya, but in reverse. But how can you not remove your shirt in the middle of the street? This idea of human dignity, of kavod habrius, is only on a derabanan. But Tigim Rav Shavok Hamed Rav Kahana, beloved Loisaser. It's only in the Rabbanan. Akabar the Gemara says, "Ochanami." In this story, Carmel is the Rabbanan. This was area like a field, which is not a Rosh Hashanah. And the whole list to carry there was the Rabbanan. So once again, Rabbanan relaxed their Isser of muktzah, of whatever it is, of carrying in a Carmelis because of the busha that Marbar Ravashi had with that Hadron Allah HaKoimetz, Hadron Allah HaKoimetz, Hadron Allah HaKoimetz. So we're starting Perkat Chelas, and it says that Chelas Enim HaKeves. I just want to throw this in. We were talking, the whole parak that we just learned are things that are ma'akev one another, things that are important, like the tzitzis we just said, the 4 is very important, you can't walk around with 3, and now we're going to talk about things that are not ma'akev. Says the Mishnah, if you only have white strings, you wear the white strings, like you guys. V'halavan ein makiv es hatchelas. And the white is not makiv the tchelas. So if you only have blue, put on the blue. Tefillah shel yad ein makiv es shorosh. We learned this. If you only have one tefillin, let's say you only have roish. So Rabbi said we went through this. Let's see if the other remembers. You only have tefillin shorosh. You're on vacation. You're on a plane, so you only have tefillin shorosh. What do? You put it on. How many brachas do you make if you're Ashkenaz and not Sfarad? 2 brachas. Usually you make 1, but now since you don't have the shayad, you have to make both. Oh, gewaldig. I asked the Israelis, they had no clue. They weren't. Yeah, you did. Okay. Sticking up for the Israelis. We'll go back to the videotape. Everything's videoed. By the way, just real quickly, the tchelas, it says over here, if you don't have blue, we're just white. If you don't have white, we're just blue. Over here, but you have to do all strings blue, all strings white. Over here, you don't have to wear 2 pairs of roish. You do 1 out of the 2. It's a slightly different concept, but it's nevertheless it's makiv and not makiv. Says the Gemara, like a Rebbe. Perhaps our Mishnah doesn't go according to Rebbe. Why? The Sanya uri isim oisoi. Now we're talking about two strings, 2 types of strings, blue and white. So why does it say you should see it in singular? It, what's it? So there's a machlokes how do you learn the word it? You should see it. It means as the 2 of them are 1 unit. Look at it, Divi Rebbe. So in other words, without the blue, don't do white. According to Rebbe, Rabbi say all of you guys who are not wearing blue, you shouldn't be wearing tzitzis. According to Rebbe, Rabbeinu HaKadosh, the author of the Mishnah, holds blue. Without blue, do not wear white. We obviously don't pass him like him. My time, why did Chacham say it's not makiv? Sorry, my time of the Rebbe, Dichsiv HaKonof. My time of the Rebbe, what's Pshat in Rebbe? Dichsiv HaKonof, it's extra. The word HaKonof is extra, it says it already. Min Konof. What color were most of the garments in the time of Chazal and time of the Torah? White. They didn't have the dye that we have today. So that means that the strings should be white. Min Konof, it should be from the same fabric, the same min as the beged. Uchsiv, psil tcheles, it also says blue. Singular. You should see the 2 types of strings, white and blue. You should see it. Meaning it should be like 1. By the way, we're going to do this Gemara all over again. So it means each and every one, a singular. The white is it, the blue is it. So they're not ma'akiv one another. Our Mishnah that says that chelas is not ma'akiv, it's not necessary, it's not, what do you call it? Essential. No, our Mishnah could go like Rebbe. What the Mishnah says that one is not ma'akiv the other. Rebbe says the blue is ma'akiv the white, you cannot do one without the other. But what the Mishnah says is not ma'akiv is another type of halacha. They're supposed to put the white string into the hole first. L'kadem. It's called l'kadem. L'chatchila, put it in. Okay, all this. White first, blue second. Why? Because white is more important, like Ashi said. White is more chashav. The Gemara is going to say it a few times. Rashi brings it out. There's a mitzvah to put the white before the blue. And if he made a mistake and he did blue first, yatsa. It's okay. I have to do tshuva over here. Rabbi say, I've been putting into everybody's head that shona olav akasav la'akev. In kachim, if it says it twice, it's ma'akev. And what about if it's not in kachim? Then 1 time is ma'akev. I don't think I was so clear about that. And Taisa says it over here, Mefurish. Taisa asks, Tema the Mikro, the Dashin, Love and Bereisha, name it the ma'akev. The Torah says it once, it should be ma'akev. The loy begin in shana akasav la'akev. You don't need twice, ela b'kachim. So if I said it wrong, the entire Masechta, and in Zisbagim as well, I'm realizing now, 2 Masechtas, so I apologize. 1 is ma'akev in the whole Torah. Kachim is a kula, not a chumrah. It's 1 is not enough. You need the Torah to repeat itself twice in order to make it essential. Chisa mitzvah says the Gemara. My chisa mitzvah doesn't mean you missed out on a mitzvah. Daf lamed ches on the base. Ilay chisa mitzvah the love and vekim mitzvah the tchelas. What does it mean? it means that you missed out, you didn't put the strings in correctly, you only did white, not blue. What do we say? According to Rebbe, that's no good at all. Like we said before, my chisar mitzvah, what does it mean? That you didn't do the hagdama, you didn't put the string, you didn't put the white in before the blue. Ask the Gemara, great. That's one way. But the Mishnah says that one is not makiv this way, the white is not makiv the blue, and the blue is not makiv the white. Well, you just said that the white is not makiv the blue, that if you put the blue in before the white, you yaitza. But how do you do the reverse? If you, by mistake, put into the hole the blue string, it's not makiv. But what's the opposite case? This is a famous thing. People say about Gdoilim, he's a talis shekulat chelis. But it really comes from Kairach. Talis shekulat chelis. Blue jeans, blue everything. And he's supposed to put in the blue. In this case, you saw what he just did? He put the blue in before the white. Why? Because his beged is blue. Since his garment is blue, he's supposed to put the blue in before the white. Now what? So now you have the reverse. In a white garment, you're supposed to put the white first and then the blue. But in a blue garment, you're supposed to put the blue and then the white. Itmanami. You're a king. Okay, so now we're going to do the same Gemara over Chazarah. Don't sit down, stand on your feet until you could explain this to me. It goes both ways. One is not essential for the other. You could put white without the blue without the white. What does it mean? If you have a white garment, the mitzvah like do me love and bereisha. The mitzvah is to put the white strings in first. My time, why? Hakanov, min kanov, it should be the tzitzis should be the same color as the beged. Biagdim tcheles the lavan, and if you put in the blue first, less than you're not over anything. Tenach lavan denim hakeves at tcheles, tcheles denim hakeves is a lavan mai. And what's the reverse case? If the garment is blue, then you have to put the blue in first. The mitzvah like do me tcheles bereisha. Da kanaf min kanaf, because now your garment is blue, so your tzitzis should be the same. What's the word I'm looking for? The same fabric, the same color as the garment. V'yagdim lavan bereisha. If you put in the white before the blue, less than blah. Amarava, I don't understand you. Me the tzivah kagarim. Where in the Torah? The Torah says put white before blue. The Torah never said it should match up to the garment. Elo amarava le'nitzucha. Ela legardumin. Gardumin means that if you go like that, and now it's a gardumin. Gardumin. According to Rashi, it's after all the knots. After all the knots, you have a little piece hanging out. Is this kosher or not? Well, it depends how big it is. If it's very small that you can't make a slip knot, then it's possible. So if the igardim tchelas v'koy lavan, so there's two conditions here, Rabbi Yisai. First of all, you have to have all the other color strings in contact. They have to be whole, shalom, and the strings that you don't have that are ripped. Oh, so I don't want to forget this point. Very important point. It's referring to strings that were the right length. They were good. They were kosher, and then they ripped. Because if you start off and where they're tiny, no good. It's only because they had the hechsher before and they were tiny. Number two is that even the piece that's ripped, it's not just one string. Think about it. It's not one string, because every string has a counterpart. It's 4 strings that make 8. And if one of the 8 is ripped, its partner on the other side is whole, and that's okay. So when it says that it's ripped, 2 strings ripped, I don't know how you know both. In the blue, it's easy. So now you only have 2 strings that are blue. So the only way, if it's ripped, if both blues are ripped, now you know that you got a real problem halachically. And according to Rashi, the rip happens below the knot. According to Tosfos, if there's some remaining over here, it's still kosher. The rip is all the way on top over here, according to Tosfos. Okay. If there's tcheles and there's the tcheles ripped, but there's white, if it's left over, it's kosher. Ezav is the hyssop that you sprinkle on a tameh. It has a shear of a tefach. The shear of tzitzis is 12 thumbs. Omar bar Hamadure Omar Shmuel Kidei La'anvan. You should be able to make a slip knot, which is basically, okay, I'm not going to do it now. You know how to do a slip knot, but you could, not this way. Okay, you just pull it and it undoes itself with one pull, like a tie. Iboilu, kidei la'anvan, la'anvan kulum ba'adadi, does it mean all the ripped ones have to be tied together? Or dilma kol chad v'chad l'chudei, teiku, each one is individual. The Gemara doesn't have an answer. Rabbi Sai, a guten chodesh, thank you, and have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDY.com.